love that video. It's so sparkly.
Me
Hello,
too.
everybody. Hello, hello. Welcome to New Earth Rising. Sharon and I are so excited to be here. We're doing something different. Sharon, usually hey guys, I set it up and I'm kind of the hosty, so I'm like in charge. I have all the stuff in front of me, and Sharon's doing it this time. And so it's like I'm
Yes.
just sitting here going, hmm.
I have the controls.
You have control, and Virgos hate that being a Virgo yourself. Oh my gosh. So welcome everybody. We are talking about stargates and portals. It's a topic, that people are talking about more and more and more, and what they are and how they work. And, I think we're starting to realize it's more than what we kind of thought it was too.
Mhm.
Right, Sharon? It's like
Yeah,
you've been doing some study and some investigation into it too, and it's fascinating. It's a great big huge field.
it
It's really
is.
cool.
Yeah, I'm learning that. I'm learning that we have the ability, which has been mm, dumbed down within us, to open portals and gateways and Stargate. Well, we are all Stargate, and I want to talk about that for
Yeah.
sure too. And that we have the ability to do that. We just have to be able to reach a certain brainwave, which is gamma brainwaves, what I understand, in order to teleport. And I've been thinking about it. And that's why I talked to Michelle about talking about it today. I just, how you get those intuitions and those, and I've had so many what I would call astral journeys, out of body experiences, where I'm just flying through
Yeah.
portals, and they
Yeah.
used to scare me. But then I realized, okay, I just need to calm down and realize, all right, well, it's taking me somewhere. I don't know where. I guess I'll figure it out when I get there. And I'm realizing that I'm creating these portals.
Yeah.
It's I'm not just willy nilly going through a portal that's just there. I am creating it, and I'm like, okay, this is crazy. And I had an experience this morning, which I'll share in a little bit, but which was, talk about crazy, crazy.
I love it.
another crazy one. So and Michelle and I were talking earlier. You know how you focus on something, and when you do, things just start coming around to confirm and uphold and support what you are focusing on. And then I'm like, okay,
Coming faster and faster too.
yes,
Have
yes.
you noticed that? It's like I'll think about something and it's just it pops up, and it's not just on Facebook.
Hmm.
You Facebook, you mentioned cat food, and all of a sudden you have 35 things about cat
You
food.
don't even have to say it. All you have to do is think it. And yeah, there it is.
And
Yeah.
maybe that's a part of this rapid manifestation that we're operating into. Maybe Facebook's part of it.
Well,
But
AI would be
but
AI. Yeah.
yeah, I'm noticing that I'll think about something or notice something, and bam, it happened, and good and bad. I was
Hmm.
thinking about, oh my gosh, the spiders are going to start blooming. Call it the spider bloom. It's starting to warm up here, and all of a sudden there's spiders everywhere, like within 24 hours.
Hmm.
So what
Yeah.
came first, the chicken or the egg, right?
I
Was I
know, right?
psychically picking up on that the spiders were blooming, or did I think about it and the spiders happened? Oh, Carissa, you're so
Carissa.
sweet. Thank
Mwah.
you.
Love you, Carissa. Thank you.
Aw.
And Shaylee says hi.
And
Hi, Shaylee.
Shaylee's here. Hi,
Yeah,
Shaylee.
Shaylee. I agree with you. It's we're pulling things in so much quicker. It, and it's really exciting to watch as it happens. Definitely. I saved a spider. I live on the river, and so I go paddleboarding, and I saved a spider the other day. There was a spider on my board in the middle of the river, so I couldn't, just flick it off. I really love spiders.
Oh,
I have a thing for spiders. I love spiders. I think they're
oh,
really
bless
cool.
your heart.
I love watching them make their webs, and I just think they're really cool creatures. And so I paddled to the bank and helped him off the board. But yeah, spiders are cool. But I have been noticing a lot more spiders too.
Like with all the rain that we've had,
Hmm.
we're having a lot of things blossoming. Like to use the
Right.
word, they're blossoming everywhere.
We've have 15 baby ducklings that were swimming by
Oh,
today. I didn't see them, but my housemate saw them this morning. But I can't wait to
oh,
see the ducks, the babies come out. I have to get some owl decoys though, because we've got
ooh,
owls that are hanging out now that are, looking for
doing
dinner,
owl things.
doing owl things. Uh, so that I understand decoys will keep them away. I hope.
Yeah. Talk about creating portals. Owls, I understand. Oftentimes, shamans use them as guides to move them through portals too.
Oh wow, and those big eyes, those big portal eyes.
Hmm.
You know what, I had no idea about this, but I was taking some drawing lessons recently, and in one of the video on YouTube, and
I
I
do it
actually
all
did.
the time. I fall asleep learning how to paint, hoping it'll go in while I'm sleeping.
I know, right? I did actually pay for a class, but I need to finish it anyway. One of the instructors said that because I was learning how to draw eyes because I want to draw faces and stuff like that, portraits of interdimensional beings. The black part of the eye, what's that? The
The
pupil
pupil?
is actually a hole.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a
I never
hole.
thought of it that way, but yeah, it is.
That's a portal.
Yes.
So it's the lens,
It's the
like in a
window to the
camera,
soul.
like a camera, the 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 hole in the lens that takes the picture.
Isn't that cool?
That is so cool. I did not know that.
That's why it reflects light and does what it does so differently than the rest of the eye, too.
Yeah, because our eyes are basically cameras,
Yeah.
right? And talk about portals, the pineal gland,
Yeah.
stargates.
And all eyes see things differently, too. A
Hmm.
lot of times we think everybody sees the same, and we don't. We see colors differently. We see light differently. It's fascinating. Eyes are fascinating.
Yeah, yeah, and well, of course, there's perception based on our history. That too, the
On their
veils.
thoughts and beliefs. But some people see blues differently. Some are
Mm,
bright, some are, have more yellow in them, some have more blue in them. Like when you and I see a turquoise blue, we could be seeing an entirely different color.
right,
And
right.
yet we know it to be turquoise.
Hmm.
And so we're like, oh, that's turquoise. Yes, it is turquoise. But a lot of studies have realized that you could be seeing turquoise with green in it, and I could be seeing turquoise with red in it, or something different like that. And yet we agree it's turquoise, but we may not be seeing the same color. That kind of stuff fascinates me too. We're
Right,
so unique and so amazing.
right. Yeah. So, if I may share my experience this morning, which started out with me
Please.
flying through a portal. Go figure.
Mm, I love that experience too. It's so good. I love it. Share, share.
So, what I do to be able to journey, or I'm learning now, teleporting kind of thing, um, is I get up in the middle of the night after about 4 or 5 hours of sleep, and I plan a journey. I don't, I just plan to do something, what I call going out of body or whatever. Chris has taken my course, so she knows, and so have you, Michelle. So
Yeah.
you know, and then I go back to bed, but I don't go into a deep sleep. So I'm kind of prepped to be able to either have a lucid dream or just in what I would call an out of body experience. So this morning that happened, and I didn't fall completely asleep, and all of a sudden, shoom, I'm out of my body. I'm out, and I'm going through a portal, and I'm moving so freaking fast. And it didn't scare me. It was actually kind of cool. I was giggling because I was like, and it was almost the color of the light behind me, the portal behind me,
Yes.
almost that color,
Yes.
but it had some purple too. And I'm just flying and it's taking turns. And I could feel, and as it's turning, I feel like a little kid, like on a roller coaster, because I'm giggling as I'm moving around these curves and everything. And then the next thing I know, and I don't remember coming out of the portal, but the next thing I know, I'm in a different world. I don't know if I'm on another planet or if I'm in the future or if I'm in the past or whatever. And I'm in where I am, I'm in a facility and I know that I'm working there. Whoops, I need to plug in my battery.
Battery.
Battery, important. And I know that I'm working there as like an electrical engineer or computer engineer kind of person, that type of person. And I'm just kind of, and I'm have a white uniform on. I'm just kind of walking around the place, seeing if anyone needs any help or anything. And I end up, somebody says, yeah, I'm having trouble with this. And I see like a computer. It's a really weird type of electronic computer thing. And I crawl under it, and I am female. I know I'm female. And I crawl under it, and I said, "Oh, here's your problem." And I just kind of pushed something back into place or whatever, some electronic thing. And I said, "Oh, wait, here's another one." I asked him to give me a flashlight. I can't really see here, so it was really weird. So I fixed it, and then I noticed that somebody else, as I'm walking out, is on their screen. So I looked at their screen that they had some kind of code that they're not supposed to have. It was coding that they weren't supposed to have. And so I guess I worked in security too of some kind, maybe a spy. Anyway, I ended up turning in some like three males who were uh, doing doing something against how to explain it, but whatever they were doing was not what they were like betraying their community or whatever for money. Uh, and so I turned them in. Security came and got them. And then after I did that, I thought, oh, I knew that, okay, my job here is done, type of thing. And I had a partner or a husband, and he was a physicist. And I mean, it lasted a long time, but I would I'll try to give you a little tiny synopsis. We had built together a time traveling machine, a portal machine, a Stargate machine kind of thing. And we and three other people there was five of us that once we had done our job there, whatever we were supposed to do to change things, we were going to then we would go to this machine where was hidden somehow my mate was able to keep it hidden, or people didn't know what it was for, and then we would portal back to where we were from.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. So we got together in this room, and it was a room that was all metal, like a metal box. And they were trying to get in. They were trying to get into the room. For some reason, they had chased one person, and they were trying to get in. So we had to kind of hurry. And it's like a movie. I'm like, this could be a short story. Um, and then he turned it on, and this there was a bright light, and we all portaled back to wherever we came from, and I felt like it was a different time period, not just a different place. And we portaled back, and we had and I knew that, and we all went in different directions except my partner and I. Everyone else, we couldn't be found together, kind of thing. But my partner and I stayed together. But we had also left something behind before we portaled, so that we would have what we needed when we came back. Because we were thinking, okay, we're going to start over our lives. Because I felt like we were kind of like prisoners there. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
That we weren't. It wasn't like we had a a, a way of moving freely around. We really didn't. Um, so I'd have to meditate on what that was all about. But I knew that we didn't want to stay there. We didn't want to stay,
Yeah.
and so we left things in place where we portaled from in case we didn't come back. Depending on, and it was a time travel thing. So we came back from the future to the past. Ooh, I'm getting emotional talking about it for some reason. Came back from the future to the past, and we left things in place for us so that we could. Um, it's like we changed things for another future, or I
Yeah.
don't know. That was crazy.
Yeah, it's so cool because, I think there are a lot of us who do that at certain states of consciousness too. There's so many of us that have past, present, and future life memories, and it's like, where does it change from being a dream to being
Hmm.
actual the time travel experience to the memory of the time travel? And if everything exists all at one time, it's all existing at the same time, and just the different ways we experience it. There's like so many different ways that we can look at it.
Yeah.
And that's so cool. And you and I have talked about this whole 20 and back thing too, right?
Right. Right.
Where
That's what it reminded me of too.
yeah, because you can feel that energy
Hmm.
of shifting the time, when you're time jumping and stuff. It has a particular feel to it. Um, or in my experience, it does. And I haven't done a lot of it, but I do feel it when I have my dreams, of going to Jupiter and
Yeah.
working with the Jupiterians and the people to help them, kind of help them help us,
Hmm.
is kind of what's been going on with that. But there's a certain feeling of, it's not just going another place, but it's a time
A
warp.
time. Yeah. Right.
Yes, it's
A
like a
time
time
slip.
warp kind of a thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which
Hey,
which would need to
Corey. Hey,
happen,
Corey.
because in order to travel there has to be some time adjustment, right?
There does, because once we get outside the gravitational pull of the Earth, we're not beholden to gravity and time and space anymore.
Yeah.
So it's yeah, it's wow. Talk about a mind pretzel,
Yeah, totally. And
right?
like that movie, and I just watched, and I was talking about the Tesseract in my, um, uh, Tuesday show, about the movie Interstellar with
Mm.
Matthew
Oh, I
McConaughey.
love that
And
movie.
him
Yeah.
traveling, and how they were going through wormholes, and they're trying to come back, and they got this wormhole and that wormhole, and we go there, and he got stuck in a fourth dimensional field of infinite possibilities and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, there aren't movies made about this stuff because it doesn't exist,
Right.
right? These movies are being made because it exists. It's a real thing.
Right.
And there are
Yeah.
people who have experienced it.
And we have the ability within us. And so that's why I was really excited before Michelle and I came on, and we met up a little bit before we came on, that I was watching Michael Sala's video with Jean Charles Moyen, who is a French super soldier, who has come out with his come forward with all his experiences, and he has so many experiences that have been validated, and he's been time traveling and portaling since he was a child.
Yeah.
Yeah, he and his parents even asked him, because from what he's explained, I haven't listened to all of his stuff, but from what he explained, is that sometimes it would just happen automatically. Kind of like with me, because I wasn't planning on going to a planet or another future existence and check their computers, so and turn in these guys who were apparently, hopefully they were bad guys. I don't know, but it seemed like it. What I
It's
was
like you
doing,
can't make that stuff up.
I can't. Yeah, totally. So there was one time his parents knew about it, and he would draw everything and journal everything as a kid. So smart guy. I didn't have that awareness, but my memories weren't with me anyway. But I mean, how many of us have awareness to journal our stuff as kids, or weird
Yeah.
experiences? Um, at one point, his father says, "Well, why don't you try next time you portal? Why don't you try to bring something back physical?"
So
And
cool.
so he made the intention to portal to the Caribbean, and he lives in France in a high-rise building, he said.
Ooh.
And when he came back, he had sand between his toes and he was sunburned. So yeah,
Wow.
that's just one of
So
many, he says.
he's saying it's not just a consciousness leap for him. He's literally his body is traveling through time.
Right. Which I
That's
believe that we can do. Yeah,
absolutely.
I believe we can do.
Absolutely we can.
Yeah. We just we have to reach that state. And he is one person who the super soldier program looks for, because they can reach the gamma brainwave state
Right.
pretty easily. And so he was tested where he reaches the wave brain gamma brain wave state pretty easily. That's hard to
Say
say.
that 3 times
I
fast.
know, right? So I wonder if when we are consciously going into what we consider an out of body state, if we are in, I know that I
Hmm.
believe that, a lot of times we're in the theta state, but if we reach the gamma state, that is, the highest frequency.
Right.
And when and NDEers, I bet, reach the gamma state because they're no longer, how do I put it? They're no longer confined to the physical brain.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm writing this down. I gotta look into this further
Okay.
because it's interesting. It's like, at what state do we need to be that our body actually goes with us?
Right.
It's like
And
it
that's why I
yeah,
want to
like
bring up spinning.
yeah.
Spinning. Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, what was that? You're
Okay.
talking about the whirling. I wanna talk about that. Sharon and I have conversations and kinda go back and forth between the shows, and Sharon comes up with this stuff sometimes. I'm like, "What are you talking about?" It's so fascinating.
We
She is just like this plethora of it's so fun.
well, you too. Yeah, you too. And so when I mean, we were kids, we used to spin all the time, no problem,
Yeah.
right? We'd just spin around, we'd spin. And I used to spin too when after my quickening and everything, I would love spinning, dancing and spinning. Now I do more than 8 revolutions with like, ugh. But I read and I was getting spinning portals in Stargates. I kept getting that. Okay, that we need to talk about it, or at least because it's bringing it into our consciousness, right? So the
Yes.
Sufis, the
Yep,
whirling dervish, would spin to move into a trance,
yep.
and I bet you
Because
they move
that's
into a
what I
gamma.
took a class on,
Okay,
was
yeah.
the
So you
whirling
move in
dervishes.
whirling dervishnesses, yes, and they would spin. And I read this article that Cryon, I'm sure everyone here has heard of
Mhm.
Cryon, Lee Carroll channels Cryon, and some other people, even in the Bible, they said that if you spin 33 revolutions, work up to spinning 33 revolutions, you are pretty much filling up your body with light because your cells are spinning so fast from, and it was sacred number of 33.
Ooh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So the more we spin in clockwise, they said stand, look like you're standing on top of a clock and spin clockwise. So you're creating a portal, basically, is what you're doing,
Wow,
and you're bringing in light
yeah.
in your body.
Absolutely, because that's why the seek, when we do that spinning, you do.
Yes,
You leave your body
you're.
in ecstasy with the body still spinning, and I never thought about it as spinning the cells in the body, or
Mhm, right.
probably deeper than that too.
But if you're spin, but what about this? What if you're spinning and continue to spin and you disappear?
Ooh,
You don't leave the body. Your body leaves
goes
completely,
with you.
completely. Yeah, and you're with your consciousness because we know about people who teleport all the time. I
Right.
have yeah books on it. I think it's in Joe Dispenza's book
Dispenza.
Supernatural. I believe it's that book. I'm not sure where he talks about some people who have witnessed little people standing in a circle in certain areas of the world, and they start spinning around clockwise, I believe is what he said.
Yeah.
And after a little while, they spin so fast they disappear. So they're moving from one frequency into another, one dimension into another.
Wow, that makes sense. That brings to mind too, there's so many different things where they use spinning and the circle and all that as part of the ritual, and that kind of stuff. Ooh, even dancing, even like the Native
Yes.
Americans dance around the fire.
Yeah. The circle is sacred. It's sacred. I mean,
Yeah,
everything is
because they
cyclical, isn't it?
spin around the
Yeah.
fire like this.
Nice.
Ooh, we got to let's spin and see if we can disappear on YouTube. That'll get us kicked off.
They won't be able to find us. They can't kick us off. They can't find us. And that's another thing that Michelle and I were talking about earlier is okay. So if we're time traveling all the time anyway, moving in and out, portals, gateways, that kind of thing, how do we know that where we are right now, how do we know that yesterday wasn't just a memory and it was I mean, okay, how do we know that it was actually a memory? How do we know that it's not something that has been implanted, that
Was
our history's been implanted in our mind, and we think it's we think that it's a memory?
And yeah, and how do we know?
How do we
Because
know?
our minds are so pliable, is the word that I'm getting, in that way. And we see that somebody somewhere knows that just by the things that we're implanted with, that we know about,
Mm-hmm.
with agendas and mind control and all that kind of stuff, and hypnosis. We're both
Right.
hypnotherapists, and I'm getting ready, to do a hypnotherapy class this Saturday, self hypnosis. And I mean, we can our minds are these mighty fields of potential.
Yeah. We've been
And
mind wiped so much.
yeah, what is past, present, and future?
Mm-hmm.
What is real and not real? And it's interesting. I woke up, I don't know, a few nights ago, flat, straight up wake up. One of those things where it's like sleep awake at 4:14 a.m. And I had the message: stop thinking with the mind and start feeling with the heart, because you can't go any further from where we're at now with the
Yeah.
mind. It's like the mind has done what it's going to do. And we have to move into the heart and listen to the heart. Now, it doesn't mean abandon the mind, because many have, and it doesn't fare well for them. But but it's really moving forward with really feeling in the heart what is real, what is true for you. And I think that that's part of that, is learning to find out what is real and what is the fabricated, that we've been exposed to.
I love that because I just read that basics principle right there in the way of mastery. So yeah,
Mm.
you're Christ Christ itself is coming through for sure with that. And he said that. And in this chapter or this book, because it's 3 books: the way of the heart, the way of the heart, the way of
Mm-hmm.
knowing, the way of transformation.
Yeah.
So he talks about, I just finished the chapter in desire, and how desire is everything.
Mm-hmm.
Every minute of the day we have a desire to do something. We
What
desire
keeps us
to,
moving, right?
yeah, right. And he says that we've been so programmed to feel guilty about desiring things. You know, I desire to be rich, or I desire to be this, or I desire to have that. And we've been, unfortunately, programmed to feel guilty about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he said it's okay to desire whatever you want to desire. Doesn't mean you always have to act out on it. But
Right.
that's just part of the human nature, and it's part of creation. And that's how God, source, he says the Father, created us
Yeah.
to have desire.
And creates through us.
Exactly.
That's what that
Creates
desire
through us.
is. It's not
Right.
all God. Some of us have some desires that lean a little to the wrong side,
Well, but it's still God expressing through us. You're
but
right.
it is still God expressing through us,
Yeah.
exactly, in all the
And
different forms.
right. And we can choose, and then we have the action that goes along with it. We don't have to act on it. And I haven't got to,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just stuff that we've been studying for a very, or no, it's just reminders. But
Yeah.
I love, I love that book because I feel I'm sitting right there next to me as I'm reading it.
The handbook to Ascension. And
The,
you have to learn how to spin properly because you can hurt yourself.
yes. Right. Yeah, I read that book a long time ago. Is that the one
Mm,
by Joshua Stone, Krissa?
yeah, I think
And
it
I had
is.
a beef with him.
David Joshua Stone. He's got good stuff, but he did
He
kind of
does.
go off into the weeds for a while there.
Well, yeah, I remember being in the higher temples when I was reading his books, the Handbook to Ascension, and and he was saying that Mary Magdalene was a prostitute or a woman of the street or ill repute or whatever. And I'm like, wait a minute, because he was up in front of the class, remember it very clearly, talking about Mary Magdalene, and he was perpetuating that fake news,
Mm,
the misinformation,
the misinformation.
misinformation. And so I had argued with him in class in the temple, the Joshua Stone temple, and I said, no, she's not. And after class, we had a little talk about it.
Well,
Isn't
yeah,
that funny?
yeah, and that is a belief system that's embedded in our psyche,
Yes.
and so he was just coming from that. But that doesn't take away all the great stuff that he taught. When I do my WESOC journeys, still use his book. I
Hmm.
still use his book. It's great.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good stuff. Definitely. That was the only beef I had with him. Yeah, it right tells you to spend every day. Totally. That's probably why I started doing it back then because I loved
Yeah,
it. But I
yeah.
would, start slow. Start slow.
I just had a vision. I remember when I was little, we used to have a swing like that was like a really high swing. It had really long chains on it. You'd wind it up and wind it up and wind
Yeah.
it up and then let it go and spin and spin and spin and spin. I just actually had like a second where I just went, whoa, remembering that spinning.
Oh yeah.
It felt so good.
It's a good way to leave your body
Yeah.
because we're creating a portal. Ooh, spill the beans. Oh yeah, I did. By Joshua Stone. Yeah. So let's talk about the womb as a Stargate
Ooh, it is
because
a portal, isn't it?
it's a
Ooh,
it's
it's
a
4:44 right now.
of course.
It's so funny. I don't know if this has anything to do with anything, but I feel like I'm supposed to share this. It's 4:44 right now, and my phone just popped up with a call from Ireland from 222 222, and then it was like 4 something, and then it went off. Is that
Huh?
is there anything I don't know? It was
222.
really weird.
And that was the phone number? 222 222.
222, and it said Ireland underneath it.
Oh, wow. Goddess energy. We just talked about the womb as a Stargate.
That was so cool. At 4:44.
That is cool. So many confirmations everywhere.
I know. And I get so many phone calls
From Ireland?
from no, just from all over. Right now, I've in my voicemail, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 voicemails from
Who are you giving your phone
Delaware,
numbers to?
from the United States. Somebody from the United States is calling me.
Are you on some kind of dating app or something like that?
No, tried that. That didn't work out. Talk about a portal.
Yeah. Not the kind of portal you want to get stuck in.
But yes, the womb is a portal. Absolutely.
You know, when I first saw that, there was I think I saw it on your Telegram channel. It said the womb is a portal and that's why it's under attack or something like that.
Yeah.
Is a Stargate.
Yep.
And that's why it's under attack. And it just hit me, and I never heard that before.
Yeah.
And this what in the last year or so that maybe you put that up, and I felt it. I felt kind of sick, and I
Mhm.
felt fear.
Yeah.
I felt like a release for one thing, but I just felt this, when you like that.
You know what? And when you're saying that, Sharon, I'm feeling like it's that old energy of when the divine feminine came under attack in the beginning.
Yeah.
When patriarchy wanted to quell that. But we're the only the feminine form is the only form on this planet that brings spirit into form. We are the Stargate between spirit and physical form. We give birth,
Mm-hmm.
and that is being turned into some weird thing that whatever people want to do, that's up to them. But to make it seem like women don't matter anymore, we don't need women, or what women do is no big deal because anybody can. We are a sacred portal.
We are
Our
the
womb,
womb. Yeah.
is a sacred portal.
Yeah.
And I sat with a very dear friend of mine and was with her as she gave birth, and I literally saw that spark of light coming down through her crown chakra, and as she gave birth, boom, I saw the light coming in. Was it the spirit of the baby? I felt the spirit there already, but there was some kind of very profound, oh, I'm getting chills, spiritual thing that happened during that. And I saw that come in and through her. And we are portals.
Yeah. So maybe the baby and her were bringing in more consciousness from the spirit world.
Yeah.
It
And
made me think about it a couple of days ago. That's really profound, Michelle. That's amazing. A couple of days ago, I was thinking about this and how the womb being a Stargate, and I remember that it made me think. Okay, I've interviewed some people, a couple people, I think, on my channel. Um, I know one in particular. Maybe I heard a couple other people say that when they had an NDE, and they were okay. One in particular, Andy. Yeah, he said he was on a ship, and these people were on a ship. They would go to a ship after they left their body, and were
oh,
told to go back. And his family asked him, "Okay, are you ready? Are you ready to go? Are you ready to go back? Are you ready to be born?" This is when he was ready to be born, and he was on a ship. He said it was pre-birth. Okay, this one point, and he goes, "No." And they said, "Well, it's time. It's time." And they pushed him into a Stargate. And that's how he was born.
yeah.
So, I mean, that is uh, that connection between pushing him into a Stargate and the womb being a Stargate, where his soul was entering the womb, or the baby at that time.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's wow.
Yes, he said it was just like the Stargate on Stargate SG-1 and those shows in the movie. It was just like that. It had that rippling,
Yeah, like that
liquidy thing, like what's behind this kind of thing. Yeah.
yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Hmm.
And when you think about that, also our chakras are stargates.
Yes, I was just going to say that they're
Yeah.
portals. Yeah.
Yeah. And they create these toroidal fields around us that create our auric fields that contain our consciousness, that are a container, that are a vehicle of sorts. And I felt for a long time that once we really master our minds, right, when we and remember who we truly are, that the toroidal fields are that vehicle for that time travel. That will be the vehicle, kind of like the Merkaba, right?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
maybe even that is the Merkaba,
Right.
but we still have a ways to go. This mind is still full of all this other programming and limitations and all that
But we're
stuff.
getting
And
there.
yeah, we're getting there, and that's part of what is happening right now. Is people they're getting out. I mean, this word matrix is thrown around all over the place, whatever you want to call it, but disengaging from the matrix and beginning to become a free and sovereign being,
Hmm.
and beginning to realize that the potential that we have,
Yeah.
time travel, stargates,
It's
you
pretty
know,
cool.
it's way
Pretty
cool.
awesome.
It's
It
way
is. I
cool.
mean, I keep hearing. I watched someone on Jeff Mara and caught my attention, one of those videos, and I listen to these things while I'm out doing something. And she said that when she said what a lot of people have said, and we've talked about it here, that we're in a simulation, right?
Yeah.
Um, she was contacted by a star being while she was on her computer. And her computer, she lost control of her computer. And just like on the Matrix, remember in the Matrix where he lost control of his computer and they were talking to him? She said that they typed a message for her on the screen. Yeah, it was kind of weird. But
Ooh.
anyway, yeah. So she was communicating that way, and they would take control of her computer. Well, she had some profound experiences after that. She didn't really have an NDE, but she had transformational experiences. What she learned is that our matrix, our reality here, 3D matrix, had become so corrupt
Yeah.
because we got people would come here to experience it, and we got lost. We got
Yeah.
trapped, right? And I remembered that 20 years ago where that was coming up, but I didn't want to know it. But yeah, felt it.
Right.
Didn't want to know it. So we got trapped here, and she said that our computer program. She said, look at it like a computer. The program had become so corrupt that what the higher beings did, or what they had to do, was take that program out of the hard drive and insert it into another hard drive. Make a copy of it, insert it
Oh,
into another hard drive,
interesting.
and destroy the old one. And that's why we had things like the Mandela effect and things like that, glitches in the
Wow.
matrix.
So when was that done?
She said around 86, I think she said, or something like that. I can't don't really remember.
Wow.
uh or after, but she also confirmed something Elena Denon talks about, is that the false light, how that was a reincarnation trap, right? And people would go into the light and it would and get trapped into keep this recycle. It's a recycle thing.
Right.
Another thing I didn't want to know about, but
Well, yeah, it is. It's like this reincarnation thing. It's like Who made that up too? What a
Yeah.
dumb.
No, I get it from a different perspective. Is that we
I
do
get it from a different one, but it's like, we're
yeah.
done.
If we get stuck in it, that's not good, right? And so what she said was that she went into meditation and realized that that was not organic, and
Mm-mm,
that it was some,
mm-mm.
some
Yeah.
machine or something,
Yeah.
extraterrestrial technology, and that it was on the moon.
Part of what the moon was about, why
Hmm.
the moon was brought there in the first place.
She said it was dismantled in 2011, and it was taken. It
Interesting.
was destroyed. Elena Denon said it was destroyed in 2021. So, you know,
11
as
year
long as
difference.
it was destroyed, that's all I care about.
Right.
Yeah.
It's interesting. And I hear stuff like that, and it's like, that's so cool. So where's the proof of it? You know what I mean? Not like where's the proof, but like, where's the proof? What is the outcome? What's happening since then? Or did we all just like blank over into the new system? Like, how
Right.
did that work?
Yeah. Well, what I believe I remember her saying, it's still one of those videos you have to watch again. Because, yeah, it was crazy. Now, I don't agree with everything she said, or I should say, my experience, was a little bit different. But a lot of it was fascinating and really rang true for
Yeah, it
me.
is
Yeah.
absolutely.
But as far as how we went through that, is that we wouldn't even remember. Most of us wouldn't even remember it.
Right.
And I've been told that before too. Um, and people who were maybe really aware might say, okay, there's something, or might realize that there's something going on. And
The mandala effect right there, people
we've
that
been
are
knowing about
aware.
computer glitches all the time
Yeah, it's like
for
the
a
whole
long time.
Berenstain Bear thing and
Right.
mandala,
So
yeah.
man, Nelson Mandela was in prison in the old one,
Right.
because I remember him being in prison, and in the new one, he was let out. In the new software, he was let out.
And isn't
A
that
computer
crazy? There's
program.
so many little things. Matter of fact, I watched a video not too long ago of all kinds of things, like the labels on mustard and all this kind of stuff that is like different. It's
Wow.
different messaging, different psychological interaction and everything with
Yeah.
it.
Well, I
So
know that
something happened.
GIF used to be Jiffy,
Yeah,
and now it's
yeah.
just GIF. And there's, apparently, people are saying no, it's always been GIF. But
No,
I
I
remember it
remember
as
Jiffy.
Jiffy
Yeah,
peanut butter. Yeah.
yeah. And it's really, really fascinating, and it's how we're manipulated. And I know I study a lot of that Keylontic stuff, and
Hmm.
they talk about how, basically, extraterrestrial beings, some are our family and the founder races and stuff, and some are dastardly guys that mess with the Stargates. And she
Yeah.
describes it as like a 15th dimensional system with the Stargate moving in through each and every system and all that. And that there have been beings who have come in who have said, no, you may not ascend. We are going to trap you into this reincarnation cycle, right?
And keep you as slaves.
And yeah, and
Yeah.
keep you as slaves. And
Consumers.
made parallel universes. So that is how some people are experiencing this Mandela effects too, where they've made actual
Mm-hmm.
parallel I'm getting chills. Parallel universes, and one is a very dark universe, and that's where some people psychically go, in the shadow and nightmares and all that terrorizing kind of stuff. Is this parallel universe that was created to keep us down, keep us in that slave consciousness and that fear consciousness,
Right.
because the ones who did it are associated with the ones who love the loosh, you know,
Right.
ooh, all that yummy juice coming off you when you're afraid. And it
Yeah.
it's I know it's like, ooh, nummy, nummy, nummy. But it's interesting because it's like all of this stuff, it's all saying the same thing, but it's all being kind of put in different ways. And it's kind of like religion. It's like, oh, well, we believe this or this or this. But it's like when you bring it all out, lay it on the table, it's all saying the same thing.
It's
There
like
is
seeing
time
different colors of blue.
Exactly. Exactly. Like we were talking about, but it's all the same thing. Who did it?
Yeah.
What did it? Where was it? There's a lot of different information, but ultimately it's the same thing.
Hmm.
Everything's being manipulated at some level somewhere. And so many of us are here to move through whatever that manipulation is, to get out of this entrapment, if you will, slavery,
Hmm.
whatever word we want to use, and to like free my people. I had an
Right.
experience
That's
with,
why
I
we're
don't
here.
remember what it was,
We're here to
but
help.
yeah, and
Help.
I kept getting
Yeah.
this, let my people go, and that comes from what, Moses or something like that. But it was
Yeah.
like, let my
Yeah,
people
and there's a lot
go.
of us that are here who made that commitment that we would stay here until every single person was, brought up and into the higher frequencies. And she did say that she confirmed what we've been getting for a while, that it's really exciting times and that things are being um, shown.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what she said made a lot of sense for sure. Um, but things are being, all kinds of stuff is being brought to the surface of the corruption and the trafficking and all that kind of thing. So that's what we have to deal with in order to go through this, to get through into the higher, into the new program.
Yeah. And I think about too, like, in the movie The Matrix, how it says green over a black field.
Hmm.
And it's like that black field is all the yucky stuff behind the green, the
Yeah.
vision, what we're actually seeing.
Yeah. When
But
I
I
saw it in a grocery store, I saw the Matrix in a grocery store. It's clear as day when everything disappeared around me.
Oh,
It was green
yes.
and blue. Green and
Ooh.
blue, yeah. So it wasn't all green and black. It was green and blue. That's what I saw. That was the matrix of the grocery store, I guess. That was being projected.
Well, yeah. Isn't that what's fascinating? I see people's individual matrices as a grid type structure around them,
Mm.
which is weird. And I had no idea what it was. And I had to
Mhm.
watch the movie The Matrix like 5 times before I started being like, "Oh." First time I watched it, I'm like, "You people are crazy. What is this all about?" It took me 5 times. That's how densified I was 22, 23 years ago. But when
Yeah,
I finally
me
got it, it
too.
was like, "Oh," and I still watch it once a year because it
Oh, really?
changes every
Okay.
time, right?
Yeah, you get more information for sure. Yeah, I own all those movies, so I don't watch them anymore. But I've probably seen it 10 times in total. The first one, especially, that's the best one.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's good information, and we know, and again, there, those movies are out there because it's real. It's real.
Yeah. Yeah, they're getting this information from somewhere, and anything that can be imagined is possible.
And go watch some Disney movies once in a while.
Oh, well,
Ho,
yeah,
ho.
and I know. And Star Trek, you were talking about two separate universes, the dark one and the light one. Star Trek did some episodes on that where
Ooh.
the Star Trek crew, their counterparts were in a dark world or a dark universe, and they had and ended up catapulting into another universe and finding their counterparts that were the dark side of them. It's
Wow. You know what?
insane.
I remember something about that.
Yeah, I can't remember which series it was. Oh, it was Discovery, I believe.
And
Yeah.
going and went to retrieve them.
Um,
Is that what happened to
no, they
save them
ended up
from?
accidentally moving through a wormhole, and how it started is that how they ended up in the a parallel universe that was the dark universe, a mirror part of themselves, but a dark, the shadow part of of them.
Wow.
Yeah, and so they so it went on from there. It was a good series, a Discovery
I love that.
series.
This
Yeah.
stuff is so fascinating. When I was in college or just moving into college, I went in to study
Mm.
psychology and literature. And it was so not what I thought it would be. And now when we can have these conversations, Sharon, that we have, it's like, this is what I was wanting psychology to be back then
Yeah.
when I was
Yeah.
doing it. This is what I was looking for. This is what I wanted to learn. And this just, man, lights my fire. It gets me so excited.
Same here.
Miss Jules talk about the Dark Crystal.
The
You know what? I
Dark
have never
Crystal.
seen that
I haven't
movie.
seen. I think that's a Disney movie, I believe.
Yeah, isn't it like Muppety kind of things?
I
Like
don't
the
know. So it must be good. Miss Jules says it's good. We'll take your word for it, Miss Jules.
We'll have to
It's,
go check it out.
yeah, definitely.
'Cause I remember it had like a guy with a beak or something.
Oh,
Or maybe that was Never Ending Story. Well, the Dark Crystal. Wasn't that also David Bowie? Didn't David Bowie have something to do with that?
oh, a
Yeah, Miss
deeper
Jules saying yes,
meaning.
but deeper meaning. I'll have to go take a
Oh,
look at
deeper
it.
than the Muppets.
Hey, the
What could
Muppets
be deeper than the Muppets? Okay.
totally.
Yes. Yes. What? All right. Now I gotta look it up.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look it up because that is definitely because that it's interesting because hey Karen, it's interesting because that has come up a couple times for me. So I'm thinking maybe it's something I'm
Oh,
supposed to
really?
watch. I don't know if it's a movie for a kid though, is it? Is it something I want my 9-year-old granddaughter to watch with me? The Dark Crystal. I don't know why I feel like it's associated with
Yeah,
David Bowie.
1982 dark fantasy film directed by Jim Henson from The Muppets and Frank Oz. Yeah. Oh, so it's animated. Yeah. Yeah, it does. It is the guy with the the nose thing. He looks like, ooh, he's got the hooded. He reminds me of a Draco reptilian with the hood
Ooh.
and the face. Yeah. Uh, I'll skip it.
He sets out to try to find a shard of the Dark Crystal, a powerful gem that once provided balance to the universe.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I don't know.
Oh, and it
Anything.
has the little okay. I may have seen this before and again, probably had no idea what they were talking about. It was weird. I used to kind of be into all this stuff, but I didn't get it at all. It's like I was in this like der phase until I hit.
You weren't doing enough drugs.
I wasn't doing enough drugs. That was my problem. I wasn't drinking and drugging until I was
Yeah.
like 30, like 28.
You got to expand the mind.
And I did, man. And then I just kept going, what is going on? And these people are nuts. And then something happened. All of a sudden, it was just like, it just opened up. I was so Matrix up until I got, what was it, like the mid 80s? I was just totally Matrix, man.
Yeah, I remember seeing my matrix, my personal matrix in a psilocybin journey. And I was looking down at it and it was just so beautiful. It was pastel coloring and just gorgeous. And I could see it undulating to my breath when I'd take a breath in and it would
Ooh,
undulate. And I was fascinated with it, just watching it.
very
Yeah.
cool.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
Corey, I want to talk about the sun too. Corey says,
sun, portal to the great central sun. Absolutely.
that's another thing that the 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 woman I was watching on Jeff Mara, she said that, and I've heard this before too, that the sun's not yellow anymore; it's white, and it used to be yellow. What happened? Is that an indication that our program was moved to a different solar system? Do we have a different sun?
Well, and there's some people that were seeing two suns on the horizon there for a while.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Hmm.
Is it true that our sun, a portal to the great central sun? Yeah, I've heard that too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I
Mhm.
would say our sun is a portal, period. We've been told it's a big ball of gas. And I know I've studied with many, many teachers that say no, it's a portal for sure.
Platinum colored. It has to
Platinum
be.
color.
Oh, good point. Yeah.
And again, does everybody see it as different or only those that are kind of waking up?
I don't think people notice. So Miss Jewel says, I watched it, but I thought it was like the two parts of a being. Dark. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And the crystal brings the two halves back together.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
That
interesting.
makes sense. Yeah.
I'll have
Yeah,
to check it
totally.
out, Miss Jules. Thank you, honey.
Yeah, I'll have to watch it now too.
Yeah. I got Disney Plus. I'll bet you it's on there.
Right.
Because despite all the bad things behind it, I love my Disney movies. I'm
I
sorry.
got it to watch Star Wars stuff and The Mandalorian.
Yeah, The
I mean, it
Mandalorian
came with
and
Hulu, so I have
the
Hulu, and it came with
Marvels.
it. So,
Yeah, that's exactly
um,
what I did. I got it for my
okay.
granddaughter, and it
Mm-hmm.
came with Hulu and ESPN, and all of a sudden I'm watching sports and stuff.
Kid stuff.
Can
So,
Organite create portals? Create portal consciousness creates portals. So can you use Organite to create portals? Maybe, probably.
yeah,
But can it create itself?
I see organized diffusing things, not
Yeah,
necessarily
like
um,
creating portals.
creating.
And we
Uh,
probably need, we probably will eventually, as this topic becomes more and more, really need to define more the different kinds of portals,
hmm
and the different kinds of stargates, and what's the difference between stargates and portals.
Yeah, crystals I know can when we use crystals totally certain crystals. That's what we were using in Atlantis
Hmm.
to create vortexes and portals,
Right.
right? And stargates.
But we still
Stargates.
used our consciousness to create them.
Yes, yes.
They weren't like out there just creating stuff themselves. Or were they?
Well,
Maybe they were. We don't
well,
know.
yeah. I mean, the intention goes into it for sure. Right. uh, yeah, totally. We were the driver.
Yeah. But we use that crystalline energy for sure.
The
And probably organite could be some organite's interesting because it's ultimately something that's manufactured, right?
is Yeah, and it's a diffuser, isn't it? It's an
Yeah.
organized diffuser, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, because of I mean, it has copper and it has the
Different
Yeah, I
crystals.
have one right here. I have one right here.
Yeah, it depends on
So
who made it too.
right. So it's in resin. Um, it's got copper and silver shards in it, and so it's not really. Yeah, it's not organic as much as a crystal would be.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I've got this too that's organite. And so, this is where it's like, what's the consciousness it's made with? I got this gigantic thing.
Wow.
It's got all the crystals. It's got all the different crystals and the copper and all that is made to diffuse the EMFs, right?
Right. So it mellows out crunchy energy. Yeah. So it's
That's
a
a great way to put
diffuser
it.
in some way. It's ways, right?
Resin, metal, and
Resin,
quartz.
metal, and quartz. Oh,
Yeah,
there is quartz in there. Okay.
yeah. And people make all different kinds of stuff. I started making. I was going to make some for Christmas presents. I never got that far. But with the copper spiral and with the sacred geometry and with the different crystals
Uh huh.
and infuse it with prayer and Reiki and all that kind of good stuff.
Right. So, in order to be able to be conscious of creating portals, what's our best advice?
Ooh. Ooh, I just had a big word come through. Be conscious of your state of mind because you will create from whatever state of mind you are in.
Cleared
Oh,
chemtrails. That's
wow.
amazing. Wow. Very
It,
cool.
with a big bucket with copper pipes coming out. Ooh.
That's awesome. Yeah, we get a lot of chemtrails around here. Do you get a lot there?
Yeah, we've been having a lot, and we've had so much, and it's because we had a lot of rain here, but we've had overcast skies for months. Like we've
Yeah.
not seen much of the sun here in Southern California. But I live close to the beach too, and so it's normal, to have that beach overcast, but it's like, come on.
Right. Right. Yeah. So, yeah, like you said, I believe we're creating portals all the time. It's just how do we create them consciously for time travel, for interdimensional travel, because we have that ability within us.
Absolutely.
And it's now, and with people talking about that they actually do it, they're helping us.
It's gonna be more and more. One thing that comes to mind is mastery of mind is really important. Ability to focus
Definitely.
is really important. Mastery of your energy fields and
Definitely.
your consciousness, super important. Don't do it on drugs and alcohol. Really important.
Well, yeah, I don't think you'll get very far. And if you do, well, if it's plant medicine, that's fine. But
Well,
I
yeah,
prefer
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I prefer not to. I prefer to, be clear headed.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, I
I like
don't,
to
I
be in
don't.
control. But
But
yeah.
it's funny. I just had this image of people being very haphazard, kind of throwing it out there, kind of the Philadelphia experiment. When some of the guys came back halfway through the hull of the boat.
Yeah.
It's like you have to be conscious of
Well,
what you're doing. Be
they
responsible.
were they were used as guinea pigs.
Yes, they
That's a
were.
whole different
That's
thing.
absolutely, and I'm not saying
Yeah.
that's what would happen. I just had that image of somebody just going, "I'm gonna start, create a portal. I'm gonna do a portal right now. I'm just gonna do it," and just like, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it I imagine it would take more than just that.
Well, you never know.
Consciously.
Yeah.
Consciously.
Well, and there's a lot of people that have very strong minds, very strong wills,
Yeah.
right? Who might
Mhm.
decide, "Hey, I'm gonna open a portal and not have you want to have the package put together." But we do it in
Yeah.
dreams. We
Well,
do
it's
it
a
when we
way.
do psychic work, right?
Right, and it's yeah, totally. When we're going to the records, the Hall of Records,
Mhm,
the Akashic, we're
mhm.
traveling in a portal. When we remote view, we're
Yep,
creating a portal. We're moving through that.
yep,
That's through space and time.
yep.
When we look at past lives, that kind of thing. Um, uh, but to do it on a physical level, if that makes sense, and not just a mental level.
Take your body with.
Hmm.
Well, for one thing, wear clean underwear.
If you crash. Oh, speaking of crashing while going through a portal, uh, when I was still afraid to travel through them, I mean, I was going through them and I would get freaked out. There was one not too long ago. I wasn't even asleep. Um, I would just laid my head down in the morning, and I was had gotten up and laid back down and just laid my head down. Boom! I'm going through a portal, and it's
Ooh,
yellow and blue, gold and blue, just as clear as day. And I'm moving really, really, really fast. And then I start to get freaked out because I'm moving through it so what seems like a very long time. And I'm
yeah.
like, where am I going? And am I able to, am I going to be able to get back? So I started screaming, stop. And I was screaming
Ooh,
for my mentor, my guide, stop. And what happened was I fell out of the portal and skidded on the ground on my face.
oh wow.
It didn't hurt. It didn't hurt. I was you
Right,
know.
because it's etheric body.
Yeah, I believe. Who knows? But yeah, I wasn't. I'm back in my bedroom in my bed. So it taught me a lesson not to be afraid of them.
I remember when I was really sick back in 2010, 2011, I was going through a lot of portals, and one of the things that was really good is I usually had a dolphin with me. Anytime that I've really done conscious portal traveling, I've always had a dolphin with me. But there was one time when I had these angels in the room, and I kind of passed out, and I was going through this portal, and it was gold and red and blue. Oh, primary colors. I just realized. And I remember going and starting to get like what you're talking about, like, oh my God, what's going on? Oh my God, I'm dying. And it was part of me, it's like, oh, thank God. And then there's another part, it's like, oh no, I have children. What am I going to do? And I remember this voice in my head say, relax and let go, keep going. Like, okay, okay, oh my God. And like going forever. Like you were saying, it's like, oh my gosh, and rushing, rushing, rushing. It's like, oh my
Right,
God,
right.
just keep going, just
You
relax,
were
let go,
talking
keep
about
going.
dolphin. Oops, I lost you there for a second. There you
Oh,
are.
what?
You were talking about dolphins. I got to tell you something. Okay. So, and the video I was watching earlier was Jean Charles Moyen. He he had a vision recently where he went. He remembers having a life in Japan as a when he was a little boy. He remembered having a life in Japan, and he knew nothing about Japan, and he was able to name the city and the street and everything like that. Okay.
Wow.
So, and it was it was confirmed. So recently he shared that he was at his house just doing whatever he was doing, sitting down, I guess, and all of a sudden he felt something happen, and he could see his office with his right eye, but he was could see Japan with
Oh,
his
wow.
left eye. So he was split
Wow.
in what he was viewing. So one side of his brain was tuned into here, the other side of his brain was tuned into where he was, and he was portaling because apparently, okay, so earlier he was bringing up something on, and his English isn't his first language, so he's a little hard to understand sometimes, but he does really well. But he was pulled out his phone, and the GPS came up, and all of a sudden the phone stopped, and the GPS was the town came up as the town in Japan when he
Oh,
doesn't live there, the same town that he remembered from his past life, and he took screenshots of it. It just appeared on his phone out of
wow.
nowhere. So he and Michael Saul were talking about, well, maybe you had started to portal, and your phone picked up that energy and of Japan, right?
Wow.
Yeah. And so dolphins, okay, so he said that, I think it was Michael Salas said that dolphins are able to access each side of the brain separately. When they sleep, one side sleeps and the other side stays awake.
Right. Oh, how cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's what he was talking about. One side of the brain. Um, so he just goes into these gamma brain waves out of
Wow.
nowhere, and since he's been doing it all his life, it just
It's
automatically
normal.
happens. Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
I
We're
thought that was really
capable
cool.
of so much. Our minds are so
They're
amazing.
so powerful, so
Yeah.
powerful. We have no idea. We've been so programmed to turn them into mush practically, but we are so powerful.
And people are starting to talk about it too.
Hmm.
It's like our simple little show here. We're talking about stuff like that because it's coming out into the mainstream. People are talking about, they're interested, people are having experiences and they don't know where to go or where to turn,
Yeah,
and they need a place or someone to talk to, and start somewhere too. And if you've had experiences that you can't explain, know that there are people like Sharon and I that are out here that we get it. We're not going to think you're crazy.
Come
right?
on and
We
talk about them.
yeah,
Talk
come
about them
talk
with
to us.
us. Yeah, we'd love to hear about them.
Yeah. If you have some really good ones, you can come be on the show.
Right? Oh, they
Yeah.
have to be really good.
They have to be better than ours. We'll set that bar rather low. No, that's not really, not really. But
No,
no,
just anything extraordinary.
I think it's important that we be talking about this more and more,
Oh, totally.
and talking about being able to use the mind completely, the whole mind.
Yeah. And that's what's happening. That's what's happening. And so, Ia, your favorite dude, Inky, he gave
Oh,
the
yeah.
blueprint back. He gave the blueprint back according to Elena, and I believe it. I believe it. The blueprint, the original blueprint of our DNA back to the Galactic Federation of Planets of Worlds, so that, and I believe that we are slowly being bringing it back online. Our
Well, I know I've
complete
been calling in
blueprint.
my personal divine blueprint for decades, as part of healing and for myself and for others. It's part of the
Hmm.
prayer that I do. Any work that I do, especially energy healing, is calling in that divine blueprint. So if he's the one that brought it back into the thing, thank you very much. That's awesome. And we can call
Yeah,
it in too. We can call that in and call that in to our fields again. Because it's our divine nature. It's the blueprint that we were created with. It's rightfully ours. And
right.
so yeah.
It's the one before we were tampered with,
Yep.
our
It's
DNA.
it's mine and I can have it back now.
Right. Right. Yeah. It's exciting.
It
Exciting
is.
times.
It is. We got a lot of fun stuff going on in this world, and it's nice to be here to share it with all y'all too. There'd be no reason for us to be here if you guys weren't here. And we love all the comments and stuff too.
Yeah, totally. We'd just be talking to ourselves, which is, it's fun,
Which
but
we have a lot of fun doing that too.
yeah.
Sometimes we get together ahead of time and we get talking and then we forget we have a show.
All right. All right. Oh, whoops. We got to go live. Okay. Include everybody in this amazing conversation.
Oh, so cool.
Yeah, it is. All right.
So, one of the things that I want to say too, if anybody has any questions or comments or things you want to share, after this video is done, please put it down in the comments, because it's, we love to hear that. We check back, and sometimes we need to share it. We need to get it out there and share what we know and share our experiences. The more that we share, the more that we begin to come together and realize that we really are on this journey together.
Mm-hmm.
And we need all of us together to do it too. So,
Yeah, we're bringing each other up. We are. It's pulling each other up
yeah,
into the higher frequencies.
into the
That's where
portals,
we belong. This, huh?
up, pulling us up into the portals,
Yeah,
hanging on the dolphins. Woo!
riding the dolphins. Ride the dolphin. I believe that there are a lot of us, especially if we are attracted to, the mers and the dolphins and the whales and all that, cetaceans and everything like that, have some kind of dolphin beings probably in our DNA, something
Yeah,
there. I've actually seen myself as a dolphin,
yeah, me
and
too.
yeah, so it wouldn't surprise me that we have that ability
Yeah,
to separate the different sides of the brain.
just need to practice it.
I
Now
know.
that you brought it up, I'm kind of like going,
I guess that's what they call sleeping with one eye open.
it's fascinating. Dolphins. Ever since I was a little girl, I've been fascinated with dolphins and mermaids, and
Oh, me too.
and I have mermaids all over my house.
Hmm.
They used to be contained in the bathroom, and now they're just everywhere. When I moved into this
Nice.
house, they leaked out of the guest bath and they're everywhere. And it's that energy is
They
so
multiply.
beautiful. And when I was little, I used to go down to the bottom of the pool and I used to believe that I could breathe underwater like a dolphin. And I would lay down there and freak people out because I would feel like I could sip air from the water.
Yeah,
And I never drowned once, but it was weird. It was like I could
that's what fish do. Yeah, cool.
so trippy. I was one of those weird kids that did weird stuff. Go
You're
figure.
still weird, my dear. We're both weird
Yes.
and proud of it.
It's my signature. My signature move is weird.
All right.
uh, good show.
Yeah, totally. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you, Michelle,
Thank
for being
you.
here. Yeah,
Thank you for having me.
you're welcome. Thank you for having me.
And if anybody's interested in learning about self hypnosis, I have one more spot left in my self hypnosis class this weekend on Saturday.
Nice.
So you can find that on my website, micheleamburgey.com, and go to the academy and you can find it in there. I got one spot left. It's going to be so good. It's going to be
Nice.
so good.
Nice. Yes. All right. Yeah, my next course is in June. I'm doing the month long psychic and mediumship development course,
Mm,
level 2.
that's going to be good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. I'm excited. I'm still in the middle of my OBE and lucid dreaming course.
It's so good. I love teaching.
I know.
It's
Well,
such
yeah.
it's such a
Sharing,
blessing.
teaching. We meet such amazing people and, just so blessed.
We
That's how I met
are.
Corey and Carissa.
Huh?
That's how I met Corey and Carissa.
Oh, that's
Over here.
cool. They're so
Yeah.
sweet. I love them.
I know, right? Totally. All right.
All right, guys. We love you
Mm-hmm. Mwah.
and we'll see you soon. Mwah.
Bye.
Stay sparkly.